I wanted to do an all-in-one video and just start talking about this game. This is going to be the first portion of the video, and if you're looking for CatDog, they're going to be talked about and mentioned later on in the video. And I just want to go for a while and just start discussing some of the things that I want to see, the things that I believe that we need for this game to get some more momentum, to keep the ball rolling, I want to say. And this is a live premiere, and you guys can chat it up and share your takes on the game respectfully in the comments if you can, and what you guys think about the roster so far, and just what do you guys think was going to happen with the future for the game itself, and maybe what the plans will be as far as a potential wave 2. What does a wave 2 DLC look like to you? What does a season pass look like to you with an ideal DLC when you think of characters that you would match up and pick your own characters, maybe even one particular character that you've been looking for all this time, that you're hoping to make an appearance, that you want to see get into the game for this game.
Welcome to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2.
It's awesome to really be able to see this when you first boot up the game. It's awesome. Just take a look at the screen, just all the different characters, and I hate to say it, some of the characters, most of the characters, if not most of the game, got spoiled because of the leaks. And I was very surprised to see that we got characters like Jimmy Neutron, who belonged in the first game, Squidward, and many others that I wanted to see make an appearance as potential DLC from the first game. But since I knew that this game was becoming a real thing, I figured Jimmy Neutron and maybe the other characters that we wanted to see would have the best chance and the highest probability to be able to get in to the sequel. And we have Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 that's been out for 6 months, and it's going on and on and on, and we haven't even been into the games. It hasn't been out for a year, and a lot has changed in regards to the player base. So I'm just going to start talking about the things and changes that I think that will definitely help benefit the game, and the things I would love the developers to do for future updates. Things that we need. What we need in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Maybe some people might not agree. Maybe you might have a different opinion. I've been playing this game since the beginning. I was also given early access, which I'm very grateful for. I'm having so much fun playing the game and exploring the contents and the secrets that they put in to the campaign. And I have a good long run of 24 runs from the new game, plus different files that I've been doing, requests that you guys want to see some of these characters run into each other for encounters. Some characters have special voice lines depending on who they run into. They put a lot into this game that I really like, and the campaign is my most wanted and a dream come true that I wanted to see for this game, because I made a story for the first game when no one else made one, a story mode of what it could look like. And this is just what I imagined for a potential campaign for these characters to help rescue each other, and villains like Vlad Plasmius and other villains getting involved and trying to have their own agendas. But there's still a lack of villains and antagonists from this roster. There's so many different modes that they added into the game. Look, we got Boss Rush, we got a couple mini games. I'm going to be touching base on basically all the modes that they have for these, especially these two, and more that I think they can do for the game itself. And I first want to start with the campaign, because I feel like we can get more. See how there's no other options? Take a look at the bottom of the screen. You could delete a file if you want. They recently added New Game Plus, which is awesome, and there's even more stuff to explore in the New Game Plus exclusively. There's exclusive content and bonus content and perks and different changes that's hidden in New Game Plus. But guess what? Unfortunately, New Game Plus is bugged, and it causes so many crashes. It doesn't matter which character you play as, because if you're playing New Game Plus and you try to start a run, and good luck trying to get past that first stage, because you're just gonna crash. And it's not just Zuko. It's not because of Zuko. It's New Game Plus that's causing the problems itself with that new feature that didn't even get spotted in the patch notes. Not many people know about New Game Plus. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's someone out there right now that doesn't know the existence of New Game Plus, because most people come on and try to go online every time a new fighter comes out. They'll take him into the lab. He or she joins into the fighter or into the roster, and they'll learn how to play that character, and they'll see what they can do online. They'll end up missing out and skipping the their story to even try to see what else got changed. It's all about the characters, and I think that's what's really affecting the game at this point. It's the characters, it's the roster, it's the one thing, it's the major source why I think most people are not really playing the game as much, because that certain character got cut, or maybe that certain character still is missing. So it could go either one. I think it's one of those things. It's a character that got cut from the first game that didn't make a return, or a character that's still missing that didn't get included in the DLC. So the one thing that I'm looking for, just to run through this for this session, I'm looking for co-op. I would love to see a co-op story, online co-op, so we could be able to play the story online with friends. It'll be a lot of fun. That could be something really cool that they could do for the campaign itself. And speaking of the online, that's just something that I would love to see them do. Let's just head to the online real quick. And there's a lot of different problems going on for the online as well. So the online, I haven't been playing too much of the online. I've been playing so much of the story, for the past several days. Just going in and out of the campaign, exploring the characters, things like that. We definitely need a friends list. We got to get a friends list, and it's so hard to really try to bring people together because we don't have a friends list. So you just take a look at the top of the screen. We got ranked, quick play, and lobbies, and then on the bottom right hand corner, you open up the options. That's how you can just change your region, but your region and things like that, to adjust your settings and what have you. But they don't have a setting in regards to a friends list. Come out with crossplay. I would love to see a friends list get added into the game as a new update. It's something we definitely need for an online game with crossplay, so we can be able to invite and see who's on instead of constantly making room codes, join by password, and keep on typing the password. Somebody crashes, someone can't get into the lobby, and that person's having trouble getting into the lobby. Guess what? You got to close out the room completely, make a new one, and completely start over, make another room, and hope that that player can get in with ease. And you just have to jump through so many hoops when you try to create a room and try to bring players together. Not everybody can play because someone's going to desync, they're going to crash, and there's just going to be too much trouble, and you got to keep on making rooms. And without a friends list, I think it's going to be very hard to bring people together, especially when you start getting bigger lobbies and you want to bring all the players that are online to play, but you don't really have that much lobby options. I would love to see that, a friends list and more custom lobby options. See, let's create a lobby real quick. See what I'm saying? For the match players, invite friends. They could do something like that and update this to give them some more lobby options to complement and go inside with the friends list. So some other things I think we need, set into the battle mode. I'm gonna start talking about the stages as well. We gotta see the items. We don't even have an items list. We need more additional items. They just added new items, but you see how there's no items you don't have a list of items to be able to select our favorite items that we want to see. What if you like the fencing thermos, things like that? They'll tell us, see, they did these new ones. Look, new items. I would love to see more items get into the game, but you see how they're listed here. They made the items list in this tab, but how come we can't select the items that we want to be able to use in the game and bring to the battle? What if we have a select favorite? Maybe we only want to use 2 specific items and make sure that Krabby Patty doesn't spawn in, or that full box of pizza from the TMNT, someone gets a full recovery and snags that pizza or steals the Krabby Patty and be able to get a quick recovery. What if those items spawn in, and what if you don't want those kind of items to be able to spawn in? So it gives, once you're getting ready to win a battle or win a fight, that someone can win the fight and be able to make that magical comeback because they stole the Krabby Patty, or they grabbed that pizza that they needed, and it saves them, and it turns the fight around completely. What if you don't want certain items like that spawning in on the battlefield and getting in the way? That needs to be changed. Whoops. Didn't mean to press that. But moving on. So mini games, I would like to see an update for mini games, and I hate to say it, we only got two mini games. It's only two mini games. Let's get some more mini games. They added more items. How about some new mini games for the players to play instead of just the slime balloons, which is to break the targets and then whack a bot. You could hit the bots before they disappear to earn more and increase your score. I thought it'd be way more mini games. When I first heard about mini games being included in this game for, you know, single player content, for additional content for us to play, I thought it would be way more than just two mini games, being real. So I would love to see more activities. These can also be online mini games to play with friends. How about a time attack to see who can have the best time the best time completion, so we can compete against our friends and rank. They could do world ranks for these and try to break world records and try to be the number one. It should be the fastest player for some of these mini games. You see how they can beef them up, and it gives us more to do, so we can play with friends and be able to do more with the mini games. I hope they add more instead of just with these two being the only one. Something that I would love to see the most outside of just new mini games. See the boss rush. You confront the bosses of the campaign and fight them, and if you haven't ever played the campaign, it'll spoil the bosses if you go right into the boss rush. So you can face the bosses that you face from the campaign, but they can do boss rush updates to feature all new villains. Let's get more villains to get a spotlight, because we don't have enough villains in this roster. Let's just click on anything. Take a look at the roster, because we're about to get started with that next. We don't have that many villains. It's a lot of protagonists. El Tigre is an anti-hero. He's an anti-hero. But it says half hero, half villain. Plankton, let's just start naming the ones that's actual villains. Plankton, Azula, Zim. See, Plankton and Azula, that's 3. No, Plankton and Azula, that's 2, and then Zim is 3. Ember is 4. See, they're outnumbered. It's a scare. The villains in these games, I'm noticing, they're scarce. It's just scarcity when it comes to villains or antagonists in these Nickelodeon games. For this roster, they can stack up the villains to become playable fighters, to be able to join the likes of Plankton, Ember, Zim, and Azula. It's not enough villains. Everybody else outside of them are protagonists and heroes. The good guys are the heroes for the stories. We can get more boss rush updates to feature these new villains and spotlights, so we can have more bosses to be able to go against and battle against. And I think this is just the main thing. This is the final part. As far as everything else, try to go back. The roster itself in the stages. Look at the stages. Don't you think we could get more? We definitely deserve more. I hope this isn't the last final part of the stages. Are we ever going to get any more stages? We need more stages. This game has less stages than the first game. And then just click on anything. Miracle City, for example. This is supposed to be bigger and better. Don't forget that slogan. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 was supposed to be bigger and better. This is not bigger. It's much better. With all the mechanics that they added and so much more content, that they got that. It's the better game. It's so much fun, and yeah, it's slower. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, the first game, is faster. It's a lot faster. but the mechanics and all the different characters and the content that they have, plus it has crossplay online and so much more to offer with bosses, etc., etc. It goes on and on, but it's not bigger. It's a smaller roster because of all the character cuts. We need stages. We need brand new stages with these DLC characters. Mr. Krabs and Zuko kicked off the DLC. Mr. Krabs came out first, come on out from the background, which is cool. So he opens up the doors for other characters that got cut, like Helga and Lincoln Loud, who are background characters who have a chance to come back and make a potential return in the near future. I don't want to just see them. I want to see everybody else make a comeback and make a return. They could have built this roster on what they had from the first game and then added on to what they have, and add on to these newer characters. Mr. Krabs and Zuko get into the game. Jimmy Neutron, El Tigre, Plankton, and Squidward. This is a game for Sandy. How do you have a fighting game without Sandy, who's the strongest critter in the Bikini Bottom? She's a fighter. See what I'm getting at? So I feel like this roster is the main source that I think can bring the most of the players back to start playing the game. Because, and I was saying this the other day, I feel like the roster punched most of the players and the fan base in their souls and punched their hearts. It just put a dent and it put the game in a dire state because the character changes, the roster changes. Not everybody made it. Came out with a campaign, fought so hard for Hugh Neutron, only for him to not get in and not become playable, to go head to head with Jimmy Neutron. I wanted to do something like that. And then the other crazy part that really shocked me the most, Raphael and Donatello are in the game, no Leonardo Mikey. So I feel like some of those changes, we can definitely probably get some of those characters into the game. And then on top of that, new reps. We don't need too many SpongeBob characters. We don't need to keep getting SpongeBob and Ninja Turtle characters and Avatar characters. There's so many amazing Nicktoon shows that I grew up from the 90s era. I love the 90s. And there's still so many amazing 2000s characters and shows from the 2000s that deserve to be able to get in and get a spotlight. The more the better, but we don't need to keep stacking up and having these characters take up all the room in the slots when we already got an ideal Fire Nation character rep. You didn't need more than one. I would have been cool with just these two, but we didn't need any more other Fire Nation characters stacking up. The roster itself has really made a negative impact on this game, and I feel like I didn't want to say it like that. We need new shows. We need some of these characters to make a return if they can. I want to be the one to say it. Grandma Gertie is dangerous. Run against someone who knows how to play Gertie. She's really a lot of fun to play. I love what they did to her. Some people didn't want her in the game. She's a great fighter. And just her capabilities, it's just so much fun playing as her. Gerald is a lot of fun. He's his awesome attack is one of my favorites. Telling that story, it's just fun to really. I'm used to the changes, but we definitely need a lot more. And I think this is the main thing that we need. Changes to this roster. We need this roster to be beefed up and turned up to get the appeal of the audience. And the DLC changes really also did the most damage. The roster made some impacts, some crazy impacts, but the DLC to decide the future for future characters and other fighters, to open the door for new shows potentially, it didn't do that for the season pass. Because we got additional reps. There's not a single character in this season pass is a new show. We already got all these characters these shows represent from SpongeBob, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We could have got all new shows, and I'm hoping that we do something, we get more for the next one. And I want to put it right here on this. It leaves the big question: what's gonna happen next? We don't know. And guess what we're gonna have to do? We gotta wait and wait and wait and wait, but no one's gonna be waiting. So that's why I'm hoping that they can bring out that spark, because we need to get some hype for some of these characters. Rocksteady and Iroh, I'm not too sure about that. but we gotta get some hype for the next wave. Hopefully, get more, and then even with Rocksteady and Iroh, we can get more updates to the other modes that I just finished mentioning. Things that we need, additional items, item list, friends list, and more. But Boss Rush can contain new villains that we could probably not only encounter during the Boss Rush mode, but we can also be able to run into them in the story. They could do so much more to expand. So those are the things that I think we need the most. But the roster changes and the stages, we definitely need more. And I hope this isn't it in regards to the characters for the future and also the stages. That's what we need. But now it's time to start talking about our character requests. One of the most requested characters that some of y'all wanted to see. I wanted to do this as a request for some of you guys that really miss CatDog and requested to see a moveset for CatDog. And what would he play like if he was to get into this game? Let me know what you guys think. And if you don't want to listen to this portion, you can close out the video. Everything else is listed in the description if you want to see what ideas I came up with for CatDog. But I just feel like that needed to be said, and it's perfect because CatDog is a character that I would feel like the fan base, without the fans out there that still play this game and still enjoy playing it, would agree and say that CatDog is just one of the many characters we need back into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 to make their return, and also new shows. So we're gonna start talking about CatDog for the rest of the video. So I'll just separate them in timestamps, and if you want to listen in to the CatDog portion, you can, and you can also look at the description for the full moveset and ideas if you don't want to watch the rest of the video. But that's just something that's necessary. It's about that time that needs to be said. We gotta get some more content for the game, and some of these characters deserve to return. Not everything made its return from the stages. We still got stages that's missing too. But let's get into the backstory for CatDog, a classic, one of my favorite Nicktoon shows I grew up watching as well. I think they have the best, one of the best. I like Danny Phantoms. Let's bring the roster back up. Let's bring on a returning character who made it back in and didn't get cut, thankfully. Rocco. Let's just put him up here. A classic cartoon. I think they have the best theme song. I do love Danny Phantom's intro. He's a phantom. It's CatDog's theme song can go head to head with Danny Phantom's theme song and Rocket Power and many other shows that I like their intros. Fairly Odd Parents. It's just so many good shows out there, and it's so many deserving characters for this game. This is called Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, and it's still missing All-Stars that deserve to get in. But now let's just start talking about the backstory. If you guys haven't seen this show for CatDog, I always wondered where CatDog came from, and basically they're two brothers with two different personalities. Cat is a little bit more serious and always up to something and planning a scheme, while Dog is just so happy and just more friendly and just always trying to have fun. I like, Dog is just always my favorite of the siblings. So they're just two different characters, but they're best friends and brothers, conjoined siblings. One Dog and the other one is Cat, and they deal with different challenges. Which you can watch the show in any order that you want to, because there's a different adventure and that they get into when you start watching. And they deal with a group called the Greaser Dogs. I'm gonna get into that. But Cat is the more clever of the two, and he always, just like I mentioned, he always has a plan or some kind of scheme that he's always trying to get into for that particular episode. He's always trying to get into something. But they have no choice but to face these challenges and go on these adventures together, and they're stuck together, and they have no other choice. I still haven't figured out how this happened, And I even did some research and found out the origin of what happened, even their parents as well, that I never knew about. And I just didn't even, it was so surprising to me. I was so into the show, I wasn't even trying to find out some of those details. But I found all that out, getting to know, just looking up the backstory and finding the actual, going to watch and going back to watch the actual episode and finding out about their parents and more. But the greaser dogs is the bullies of this show, basically always trying to beat them down and fight them. And Winslow is a mouse that is that small blue mouse that lives in the wall of their house for at CatDog's house. And it's just everything's different. Every episode is different, so you could just watch it however and whatever order you want to watch it in. You don't have to watch it in numerical order from the episodes. You could just watch the 10th episode, or go from watching the first episode and then watch the next one, and you can jump and watch something later on in the season and be able to see different things go on. But it's a really good show. It's a nice little classic. The greaser dolls are, just like I mentioned, are the ones that they really try to bring them the most trouble. And if you watch a little bit, as you watch longer, they end up getting the confidence to take them on and try to fight them and battle them and be able to deal with the greasers once and for all. And even at some points from this trio, they are even more. I would say one particular character, Shriek, from the trio from the greasers, they're even nice to them at some point, and sometimes where they won't try to attack them and things like that, which is cool. And you'll be able to find that out as you watch the show. But just in a nutshell, they're basically stuck together. They travel together, they eat together, and they just get into all types of things and different crazy adventures and different disputes with the greasers as you guys watch. And there's other characters that they meet along the way: Rancid Rabbit, Lola, and many others, Eddie the Squirrel. There's many other characters you guys will be able to see as well when you watch this show. But that's just the backstory. We're going to start talking about the stages now for the for CatDog that I came up with. And just like I mentioned, not every stage made it back from the first game. We got some of the stages, but not all of them. And the stages that made the return are bigger and better, and they got expanded, like Rooftop Rumble, for example. Jellyfish Fields, this is a different version of Jellyfish Fields. I can see them being able to expand the CatDog's house, which is the ideal stage I selected. This is the only stage that I think would make the most sense for them, and if they ever was to come back and return as DLC. I'm not sure if it's going to be paid DLC or free DLC as part of an update, whichever they choose. CatDog's house can return bigger and better, just like they did with Rooftop Rumble. Not in similar size, but it'll be a lot bigger than what they have. See what Hardcore Chores for Rocco stage? It was just they opened it up and they made it bigger. Now we can be able to battle on top of the roof, on the rooftops. They did those different changes and different stage variations as well. Even with smaller stages, that was perfect for competitive battles and competitive matches from Sewer Slam. Look at this stage. This stage was changed too, so I'm sure they could do the same thing with CatDog stage. But now we're gonna move on to the costumes. And this is something that I like about this game. There's way more than just one costume, because the first game only limited you to one costume. So let's use one, for example. Let's use Lucy Loud. See, imagine this, if this was the first game, it would only just be one costume. She would just have this, but she only had her shades or the little sunglasses from the first game, if that was the only costume. And then Lincoln Loud had a beanie. But with returning characters, they're gonna have way more costumes. So I did the research. I ended up watching so many shows and rewatching the episodes, and I ended up taking out the party hats. Who has a hat, sort of a costume? Let's do SpongeBob, because he has his drinking hat from the first game. This made its return. But I removed the party hats from CatDog, and I wanted to give them better costumes outside of that. Since SpongeBob got his drinking hat back, maybe they can bring back the party hats as another bonus costume. But I didn't want to just settle with that one, so I ended up taking it out. So the Geekers costume, I think you guys will really like these, and I also have the episode references listed if y'all want to check it out, and you guys can be able to find it on Google if you want to be able to see how they really look. If you don't want to watch the episode, you can find pictures of them that way. The Geekers costume, We Are the Geekers. This was from the Geekers episode, and see, I just finished talking about the Greasers when they would sometimes gain the confidence to try to take them on and the bravery to be able to deal with them. They got power hungry in this episode, and with the Geekers is a gang that they form. It's a form of this gang where they gained the confidence, and they believed that they were finally tough enough to take on the Greasers, and they even formed. They had other characters part of this gang to be able to try to take them on. So that's from the Geekers episode. So you know, white tees, little t-shirts, white t-shirts, things like that with Geekers. And they even had a cheer, a little special cheer for it, for the Geekers. You guys gotta check that out. So that's from the Geekers episode, and you guys can look that up and find that out. Also selected the army outfits from Siege on 4 episode, and checking this out and rewatching this, I didn't really remember this episode, but this was when the Greasers decided to steal Dog's favorite bone, and it caused a war between the Greasers and CatDog. And I think this army outfit will look really cool on them instead of just having to have a hat. See, he even also has a Krusty Krab hat. I could have mentioned that too. But the army outfits from the Siege on 4 episode, I think this will also look good for CatDog, for an ideal costume. It made me think of Mr. Krabs a little bit. See, because he has some of these suits, things like that, little tuxedo. This will definitely look good for CatDog as well. Another costume I went with, the clown costume that they wore when they were going off into, they were attending clown college. I don't even remember seeing this episode. So I ended up watching this one. It was when Dog, see what I'm saying? Dog is always trying to get into something fun. Cat was always just against, trying to ruin his fun and just completely against anything that Dog wants to do. That isn't part of his schemes. So the clown costume that they wore, it looked really good. And it looked almost kind of scary in a way, if you're afraid of clowns. The clown costume that they wore in a clown college, it was from the episode Sending the CatDog. So I was like, Sending the Clowns. Isn't that something? Check out the Sending the CatDog episode, and you guys will be able to see them rock this costume. This is another ideal costume that developers can use. And then one more costume I selected was from the Rich Shriek, Poor Shriek episode, where they set up a fancy surprise party set up and arranged by Rancid Rabbit, and he hired CatDog and the other Greasers, Cliff and Company, and all the other ones, to set up this fancy surprise party for Shriek. From the Rich Shriek, Poor Shriek episode, you guys could check out that tuxedo. And then I slid in the party hats anyway. I almost didn't want to include them, but I honestly wouldn't include them for this costume list. Yes, SpongeBob's drinking hat came back, but this drinking hat is so much better than the party hats that CatDog has. And I even would go as far as saying the Krusty Krab hat is iconic. But we don't even have the Krusty Krab stage, which is crazy. So they could bring the party hats back from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, the first game, but I didn't include them in this. So those are 4 great costumes, and then of course with some of these characters, let's just use the DLC for example. Let's use Zuko. The mind control skins or mind control costumes that you'll be able to encounter them in the story can be able to pop up. So that'll be something that could be worthwhile, I believe. Just to go inside and accompany the other costumes. Taunts and animations, I didn't really do too much with these because I think they'll be saying the same thing, almost similar to what they did in the first game. And I came up with campaign quotes and entrance reactions or entrance quotes, because every character has one. They'll say certain things with the voice lines. Gotta go with the catchphrase, with the iconic catchphrase. Some of y'all know. Hi ho diggity. It's a catchphrase, an iconic catchphrase that they say. It was in the first game. Hi ho diggity. He even says it during the fights too. Sometimes. So iconic campaign quotes when you run into them and encounter them in the campaign. And then here's another one. We were the king and queen of England. We wore crowns of sausages, dental floss, and bowling balls. That was something that's gonna be that that's gonna come back. They'll definitely bring that back. And then taunts for some other additional reactions, and I'm gonna get into the winning and losing animations. Some taunts. He'll say, "I am Dog the Mighty." That's how he says it. CatDog can strike a heroic pose when he says that. And then something else that I end up finding and discovering, while doing research and rewatching the show, I selected a CatDog rock band performance for a cool, funny taunt. Cause Cat would say, "My body, my body." Cause Cat was yelling into the microphone because the greasers raided the stage and started attacking CatDog when they were trying to perform the concert, and the crowd and the audience was loving it. It's like, "My body, my body." And I got the clip that you guys can check as a video episode example from the Nicktoons channel. I dropped the link in the description for you guys if you guys want to check it out. So while CatDog is yelling in the microphone, Dog can be playing the drums. So I have the little episode example from the Battle of the Bands. So I got that from that. I thought that would be a really funny taunt that people will really enjoy. That'll be hilarious. And people will spam it, "My body, my body," and have Cat keep saying the same thing on the microphone. It'll be a lot of fun. And I think they'll have funnier taunts than Ren and Stimpy. It'll be really funny to see. So that's from the Battle of the Bands episode. Now, winning and losing animations that I came up with. Now, for a winning animation, since Dog loves to chase garbage trucks, I implemented this. A garbage truck can drive by. This is the winning animation. A garbage truck can drive by, and with excitement, Dog starts chasing it down and dashes off the screen. But before that animation comes in, they say, "We did it, Cat. We certainly did." To match up with this winning animation, and then that garbage truck just drives by and they'll just take off for a winning animation celebration. Now, losing animation, Cat can be saying, are you taking this seriously?" Cat will be able to, he'll be shaking Dog, he'll shake him up in frustration and blame him for losing the battle. It's almost something similar to what they do from the first game. They can bring that right back as a losing animation. It's more ideal for them. Cat getting mad at Dog as usual, and blaming him for the loss of the match. And to wrap up now, my favorite part, the moveset. And I wanted to make them different. I didn't want to just make them the same and have them use the same moves. I wanted to give them more of what they can do and some upgrades. And I said this before when I did Michelangelo's rework moveset with Mikey's. I wanted to do more and bring some of the moves back, but I wanted to upgrade them and bring my own ideas of what else I think they could possibly add for CatDog. It's not about them being, they're complicated to, let me just say this now, they're too complicated to make. How did they make them for the first game? I just can't agree with that. CatDog is so hard to develop. That's why they didn't make it into the game. I think they got removed because they wanted to replace them with a different duo like Angry Beavers. I just don't stand by that opinion where CatDog is too complicated to make. If they were too complicated to make, and I'll never know about game development, of course, but just my take on it. Why did they even get into the first game if they were so complicated to make? And then on top of that, they shouldn't even ever even made it into the first game for the roster then. Don't y'all think? If they were so complicated to make, I think they got booted and kicked and replace and cut because for the for the inclusion of the angry beavers, Daggett and Norbert on the screen. And I'm gonna keep it on here. Keep it on here for these two guys. I'm glad they got in. So I think they can definitely bring CatDog back at some point. That series is completely cut, just like Real Monsters. They don't exist, and they're nowhere to be found. So my whole goal with this moveset was to just give them more. I really like this guy's costumes. Let's put the astronaut costumes on. Let's probably just put them on regular for the default. But my goal was just making this moveset different, as cool as possible, so people can really like this character, and the developers can use these ideas as well to try to utilize their movesets to develop them. So let's get this started. And I also gave them a super, basically an ultimate attack or a final smash, if you want to call it like that. So the first move is tag out. CatDog will be able to switch between one another as the active fighter when prompted, just like how you can switch between Daggett and Norbert. Yeah, they're not stuck together. They're two separate characters, but they fight together. And Daggett can call upon Norbert just how Norbert can call upon or summon Daggett to the field, and they have their own moves. So the Angry Beavers and CatDog are going to be completely different from each other, because CatDog is not going to be able to summon Dog and vice versa, because they're literally stuck together as one. So that's the first thing that I wanted to implement to make sure, so players can be able to switch between the characters and between cat and dog. This move, dog pile, they don't have a dog pile sort of attack, but I was thinking about CatDog's Fight Cloud from the first game, but I wanted to make it better and create a dog pile with mobility. And with this move, CatDog starts a dog pile that grows in size, and it can hit multiple times after consuming a nearby enemy. So if you're playing against multiple people in a 4-player free-for-all, you can consume all 3 of the players and hit them all and trap them in this dog pile and be able to get them a significant amount of time. This will definitely be one of their best moves, I think, and it's something I think that they can do, the developers can do with a dog pile, and make that fight cloud that they had from the first game much better with this technique. The next move is double team. It's just a little bit of a light combo that they have. CatDog can attack simultaneously together with a combo and finish with an uppercut. So that's just a little bit of a little basic attack I wanted to give them. The next move, try to get creative with the names. All you can eat. Remember how CatDog was always trying to sneak into that taco shack that they got banned from? I wanted to do something with that, with all you can eat, because they, to share their hunger. CatDog will be able to eat nearby fighters and can spit them out, causing them to become a projectile. There's no other character that really has something like that. And I was thinking about Reptar. That's how I came up with this move, because Reptar can do that in this game. Reptar can't do it in the first game. That's see how they changed them. So it'll be something similar to Reptar, but then they can become a projectile. So they'll be able to spit the enemy or the fighter further than what Reptar can do in this game. The next move, Choco Muscle. I pulled this from the Pump episode for that buff. Remember how Dog be flexing with a muscle dog? That was from the first game, but I wanted to change it up with Choco Muscle. Choco Muscle was the name of a protein shake that Dog ate in the show. He had that protein shake, which was called Choco Muscle, and that's what helped me come up with the name of this move. Check it out in the Pumped episode from CatDog. CatDog can teach the greasers and all enemies a lesson with super strength by drinking a Choco Muscle protein shake. So I wanted to just be a little unique with the description. The greasers could definitely be in the game too at some point. Maybe some new bosses, a trio to fight all 3 of them. But with the Choco Muscle, once they drink the Choco Muscle protein shake, this will temporarily increase the damage that CatDog deals while Dog is buffed. So it won't last forever, but it's going to take him time. And while he's trying to drink the protein shake for the Choco Muscle, he's going to be vulnerable. So you want to get separation, get some space, so you'll be able to have enough time. So the next move, big stretch. I wanted to give him a nice little stretch move. So CatDog can stretch their body out in midair to hit airborne enemies from left and right. So just because you think you're on the right side, let's say you're in the air, going against characters like aim. If you're on the right side, you can still get hit by whoever's active. If it's cat or dog, it won't matter. Someone else on the left side, even if you're dealing with two people that's in the air with you, you can hit them both with a big giant stretch. It'll hit both players on both sides, left and right. I think this would be a really good move, and I wanted to give them a little bit more range with it, with the big stretch, so it's not so basic, and he can hit both sides and attack from both directions. Now, the projectile attacks, I brought those back from the first game, and I gave Dog the bone boomerang. So while Dog is active, Dog will shoot a bone projectile horizontally and will eventually return. It'll come right back. See how when you throw a boomerang, it eventually comes back. It'll eventually return to CatDog. And if Cat is active on the field, Cat will spit up not one but two hairballs that can bounce across the battlefield full screen. See how I wanted to improve it with the projectiles with some of these characters? Like Garfield's pies are not even all that great, but it contributes to his sugar rush, because they don't juggle you, because he had two different variations. He had two different types of pies, but he doesn't have that anymore. See the changes? So now I did a little bit of a some kind of difference with CatDog's projectiles. So they have two different projectiles that they can do as well. The next move, rocks. Just when CatDog gets excited. Rocks. Just like Dog was saying. So with this move, CatDog can charge forward with force and gain super armor, launching all opponents in their way. I think this is probably one of their most overpowered moves. You said rush, because Retar got a little bit of super armor himself. I think he still does, and I think he had a little bit of it in the first game. So I wanted to give them some kind of a super armor move, so he'll still be able to charge forward with momentum, even if you do hit him successfully with the rocks. Little charging move. Now to wrap up, last but not least, the recovery move, the mighty CatDog, the recovery move. I brought that back from the first game as well, and I was thinking about you see how they improved SpongeBob's recovery move with his spatula, his flying spatula. He gets higher. This one is so much better. They changed up his recovery, but they brought it back and changed it up completely. So I wanted to do the same thing with Dog the Mighty, or the mighty CatDog. Dog takes flight in midair, or CatDog takes flight in midair, and they can knock away any enemy upon contact. So that's what I was thinking about SpongeBob's recovery, because it made it back. SpongeBob and Patrick has the same recovery, and Garfield does too. Rocco, SpongeBob, Patrick, Rocco, Lucy Lau, if she's not in her vampire or ghost form, Garfield, and I think Cora also has the same recovery, and then Ren and Stimpy in a way. It's some other characters as well that have their own same recovery, and then Jenny Wakeman as well, XJ9 basically. Most of those characters have their recoveries make their return into the game, and I think they'll bring this back. The mighty CatDog. So Dog the Mighty was gonna be able to they'll be able to save themselves from elimination and break their fall with Dog the Mighty with their heroic powers. Now the last move, their ultimate attack. If you guys see my ultimate attacks, I made ultimate attacks from every single character from the first game. I pulled the same ultimate attack idea that I came up with for CatDog, and I implemented it for this moveset request. The Typhoon Teamwork move, where Cat and Dog spin using their teamwork to create a giant typhoon or a tornado capable of being controlled across the field. and you'll be able to get multiple KOs with this. And just going back to what I was saying for some of these other characters that I did from recent requests, like Mikey and Big Nate and all the other characters, they don't have supers where you can take manual control. Once you use it, that's it. And I wanted to do that with CatDog with this brand new character request today, and give them mobility so you could be able to control where you want to spin. If you're playing on, let's back it up. If you're playing on a big stage, I think this Typhoon little teamwork tornado technique, or the Typhoon teamwork ultimate attack I came up with, it'll be really good for these kind of smaller stages, because there will be no escape, where you basically either have to fall off. Royalwood Cemetery especially, you'll be basically have to fall off the stage or just be forced to take the hit and take the fall. So it's things like that that they can implement, because none of these characters have a move, a super, or ultimate attack where you can have manual control with, outside of just a recovery. Jimmy Neutron has manual control. Jenny, so to say Jimmy twice. Jenny and Jimmy has manual control over where you want to go. Patrick and Squidward, they have manual control over where you want to go and control with the recovery moves, but they didn't do that and utilize that with their supers. But that's everything that I came up with for this character, for this request. I just wanted to do an all-in-one video, and I feel like CatDog is just one of those characters, and one of many characters that we need in this kind of game to bring players into the game, get more excitement, and keep the momentum going. Even with Zuko being out and things getting fixed, hopefully with the next patch, we can get some excitement for some of these characters. They might even surprise us with some returning veterans. They can do things like that to keep us excited. Maybe we probably won't see him come back. Maybe CatDog's probably not going to come back until a different game. He'll probably be a Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4. Things like that. But even if with some of these characters that got cut and got changed because of Nickelodeon's influence and things like that, which are completely cool, fine with, they can still get new shows and new reps and other characters to be able to return. And some of these returner fighters that got removed and changed can eventually come back, because Mr. Krabs opened all those doors and possibilities to become playable, even if you're in the background as a cameo. So I'm hoping that they make those kind of changes. Let me know what you guys think. You guys can weigh in on CatDog, or just some of the things I mentioned earlier. Everything's going to be listed in the description, even the clip that I used for the rock band performance is high, which helped me come up with an additional taunt for them. It was fun working on this request. I definitely want to do more returning characters potentially. I could do Toph and any other characters. Some of y'all that want to see some of these characters, there's plenty of requests that's going to be on the way. There's so many characters that's out there to work on and more. Hopefully they'll consider bringing CatDog and maybe more changes for some of these modes. We definitely need more stages. The roster needs to get beefed up, and then we can get more updates on these single player modes and be able to have a friends list and all the good stuff to be able to keep people playing, so they won't feel like it's limited and they'll run out of things to do. And then with the characters that we want to see can make a return, they can stack up this roster, because we definitely need a lot of changes to keep some of these players coming around. And hopefully they'll consider, even if even during the downtime, that's my whole point, even during the downtime when there's not a new fighter, they can come out with these updates to beef up these modes to keep players coming back. And see what they did with the campaign, they added New Game Plus. Some people still don't know about it. They did new modes and things like that. We can't forget about the new modes. They can still do more. Add an items list. We can have plenty of items to get inside the game in new stages, not stage variations, new stages that can be playable, so we're not playing the same thing over and over.